Good morning everyone and welcome to the second part of our first chapter, Electric Charges and Fields. In today's class, let us study three important properties of electric charges and Coulomb's law. Let us begin with properties of electric charges. Number 1. Quantization of electric charge. Quantization simply means in fixed number. For example, if you are going to buy a pen from the shop, you can buy 1 pen, 2 pens, 6 pens, 10 pens, 100 pens, etc. But can you buy 1.5 pen, 5.5 pen? No, that is not possible. We can buy as integral multiples. So, quantization denotes integral multiples. Charges given out or absorbed can be 1, 2, 3, etc. but cannot be half, 1.5, etc. So what is quantized here? Quantization of what? Quantization of electric charge. Now what kind of charge is quantized? Very important. Smallest charge that can exist independently. Independently means without any dependence. And which is that smallest charge that can exist independently? Smallest charge that can exist independently is the charge on one electron. Yes, charge on one electron is the smallest charge that can exist independently. Remember, there are still smaller charges like quarks, antiquarks, etc. but they cannot exist independently. We know charge on one electron is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb. This charge is called as fundamental charge. Now the definition of quantization of charge. Charge always exists as integral multiples of fundamental charge. So according to quantization of charge, Q is equal to N into E, where Q is charge on a body, N is integral multiples as 1, 2, 3, etc. and E is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb. To understand it better, let us do a numerical problem. Question is like this. Can a charge of 4.8 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb be given to a body? Let us solve. We know the formula Q is equal to NE. Here Q is equal to 4.8 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb. And we know charge on one electron is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb. And N is equal to Q by E, substituting the values. 4.8 into 10 raised to power minus 19 divided by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 is equal to 4.8 divided by 1.6 is equal to 3. So we can see it is possible. I hope all have understood the term quantization of electric charge. Now the second property, conservation of electric charges. We have already studied in previous class about conservation. Remember, total amount of charge in an isolated system remains constant. For example, let us take an uncharged glass rod and uncharged silk. Let glass rod has 3 protons and 3 electrons and silk has 2 protons and 2 electrons. Total electron in the system when it is not charged is 3 plus 2, that is 5 electrons. Now if we rub glass rod with silk, glass rod loses an electron and becomes positively charged. And silk gains electron and become negatively charged. Now glass has 3 protons and 2 electrons and is positive, and silk has 2 protons and 3 electrons and is negative. Total charge in this system is 2 plus 3, that is equal to 5 electron. Charges in an isolated system remains constant. So I hope no further explanation is needed for this. Now let us study the third property, that is invariance property of charge. We know weight of a body changes with gravity because W is equal to mass into gravity. As gravity changes, weight also changes. Now what about mass? Does it change? Let us take the relation m is equal to m0 divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square, where m is the final mass, m0 or m0 is the initial mass, v velocity of the body, and c velocity of light. So based on this relation, for a body which is moving has a variable mass, we consider our mass as constant only because our speed is much smaller than speed of light. So change in mass is negligible. But if a body travels with a greater speed, mass of the body will change. So mass is a variable, or it can be called as variant. Now invariant is the opposite of variant. So invariant property states that value of charge does not change with velocity. So value of static charge and a moving charge has same value. Now let us study one of the most important topic of this lesson, that is Coulomb's law. You must be remembering Newton's universal law of gravitation. According to Newton, forces between two bodies are directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. If we write it as a formula, F is equal to capital G m1 m2 divided by r square, where capital G is gravitational constant. Please note, here forces between two bodies are only attractive. In the case of charges, you must be remembering positive and positive charges repel, negative and negative charges repel, and positive and negative attract. Now let us consider 2 point charges. So if you take two similar charges, they will repel, and if you consider two opposite charges, they will attract. Let us consider two positive charges, plus q1 and plus q2. Let the distance between them be r, and q1 will repel q2 and q2 will repel q1. So q1 will have force due to q2. Let us write it as force on first body with respect to second body. And q2 will have force due to q1, and let us write it as force on second body with respect to first body. This force which is acting on first body with respect to second body and on second body with respect to first body is along the line joining two charges. That means if we draw a straight line joining the center of two charges, force will be along the line, not in any other direction. So, according to Coulomb, force of attraction or repulsion between two stationary point charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. And this force is along the line joining two charges. Please remember these points. Force is both attractive and repulsive, and charges are stationary and point charges, and force is along the line joining two charges. I am sure you know what attraction and repulsion is. You know what a stationary body is. Now what is a point charge? I will explain. Let us take a metallic body of 5 meter in diameter and it has charges all over its outer surface. Is it a point charge? No, it is not. Now if we take a very small 1 millimeter or 1 decimeter diameter body with charges, it can be considered as a point charge. Now if the first body which we have considered is taken very far away, maybe 100 kilometers or 1000 kilometers away, then that big body too can be considered as a point charge. So what I want to tell you is that if distance is more between two bigger charges, it can also be considered as a point charge. Okay, fine. Now let us write down Coulomb's law mathematically. According to Coulomb, F is directly proportional to Q1 and Q2 and F is inversely proportional to R square. So F is proportional to Q1 multiplied by Q2 divided by R square. To change the proportionality sign, we have to use a constant. Let us use a constant K. So the formula becomes F is equal to K Q1 Q2 by R square. Here K is the constant of proportionality. Q1 and Q2 are charges and R is the distance between the charges. And the unit of force is equal to Newton and the unit of Q, charge, is equal to Coulomb and the unit of distance R is equal to meter. If we change the subject of formula as K, then K is equal to F R square divided by Q1 into Q2 and the unit of K is equal to Newton meter square per Coulomb square. Please note, K depends on the medium where both the charges are placed. If the medium is a free space or vacuum or even air, remember in air it is slightly changing, but we consider it as negligible. Value of K has experimentally found out as K is equal to 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. This value for K is only for vacuum or air. For other medium, K can be found out using the formula K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon. This is not an E, it is pronounced as epsilon. Epsilon is a Greek letter. Here epsilon is the permittivity of different medium like glass, water, oil, etc. And this formula K can also be written as K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Here epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space or vacuum or air. So the formula for attraction or repulsion between charges, F is equal to K Q1 Q2 divided by R square, or for air or vacuum it is F is equal to 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Q1 Q2 divided by R square, because the value for K for air or vacuum is 9 into 10 raised to power 9. And for other medium, F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R square, where epsilon is the permittivity of different medium. This is the end of today's class, and in next class let us study about representation of Coulomb's law in vector form and more about permittivity. The hardest walk is walking alone, but it is also the walk that makes you the strongest. With this thought, let me conclude. Thank you. Have a great day. May God bless you all.